Hi guys, it's Miss King. This is our last week of lessons for reading, and so I want to go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff we did throughout the year and do what we call reflecting on our reading. Good readers always reflect or think about their reading life. They need to think about what they've learned and how they've learned it. So as good readers, let's talk a little bit about some of the things we thought about. We learned about different kinds of reading. First of all, different genres. One of them was fiction, which is a made-up story. One of them is nonfiction. Let's talk a little bit about fiction first. Readers think about different things like the main characters. We always try to analyze or figure out and understand our characters by looking at their character traits, their choices that they make or the motivations that they make, and the relationships that they have with each other. How does the character change throughout the story? These are things that, as readers, we're thinking about as we're reading the story. We also take a look at the events or the things that happen in the story, about the problem or the plot. How is it introduced? It's usually introduced at the beginning of the story. What's the important thing or the important event that happens in the stories? And how do they solve those problems? Okay. We also take a look at and think about what was interesting, what we read. Maybe what was our favorite part? Okay. And then one of the other things that we should be thinking about as we're reading is what we call the theme. The theme is always a lesson that is either taught or taken away from the story. Sometimes it's the character that learns the lesson, sometimes it's us as readers that learn a lesson. How does it relate to your own life? How does it relate to your friendship? How does it relate to the things that you do with your family? Okay. Um, what text evidence do you use to tell us what the lesson is? What can we learn from our reading? That's one of the most important things we want to do is we want to be able to reflect about what did we learn when we read. A lot of times we read for pleasure, but we should also be learning things during that. How are we making connections to our characters, our story, our events, and the lesson? What kind of connections can we make? And right here, you'll see in your packet, there is a story here called The Great Escape. You might want to take a second and read this and talk about those things, think about those things, the main characters. This is in your packet along with some other ones. Okay, so let's move on to informational text or nonfiction. Because when we're reading nonfiction, we read it with a different purpose, a different mindset. We have to think about it in a different way because it's organized differently. Okay, so when we're reading informational text, we talked about looking at the topic or the important ideas and the important details, the key ideas, and then also the fun facts. We want to take a look at the text and we want to read the entire thing. Look at the photographs, look at the text boxes, look at the um, subheadings and the headings. All of these things help us to understand what we're reading and why we're reading it. Okay. Because we want to look at all of those features to determine the author's purpose. Why is the author writing this? What is he doing to help us understand his reasons? We're going to look at the whole text. Okay. Also, sometimes the text features, the pictures help us to understand the author's purpose. Is he writing it to teach us something? Is he writing it just for enjoyment? Or is he writing it to inform us about a topic? We look at the different graphics. All of these things help us to determine the author's purpose. So, this is also a different mindset for reading informational text. Then we want to look at how does it change us. We want to think about new learning. We read to learn new things. How does it change our thinking? Do we have any new we wonder about? How are we connecting? Okay, and in your packet here is also an article about Minecraft. Okay, take a look at all the features in this article. What kind of things do you notice? What is the author's purpose for writing this story? Is he wanting to teach you how to play Minecraft? Or is he teaching you about the history of Minecraft? All of those things will help you by looking at the text features up here. The history of Minecraft. So you know this is not going to teach you how the game is played. it's going to teach you a little bit about the history of Minecraft. So if you're a big Minecraft junkie, this might be really interesting for you. So always think about what you're reading as you're reading it. Think about the genres. What is a genre? We've talked about a genre all year long. A genre is a type of text. Okay, it could be a nonfiction. It could be a fiction story. So the genres are really important to understand and to know what kind of genre you're reading. It helps you to navigate and to understand the text and all of the things that they're trying to get you to understand and learn. The author's purpose. We always want to come away with something that we have learned or connected to in some way by reading. So, one of the most important things, what you can do after you've read, is share what you learned. It's very important for you to share what you learn. Okay. Share it in many different ways. We've done several different things this year about sharing, even just over the last couple of weeks. We've done a comic strip. You can use a comic strip. You can write letters, make a poster, or just talk about it with your family or your friends. What did you learn from the text that you were reading? It doesn't do a whole lot of good if you're not sharing what you've learned. And I'm not talking about sharing everything you read, but it's really important. That's how we grow in our reading, is to make sure that we're sharing and discussing. Book clubs do a lot of that. If you can get involved in a book club, okay, those kind of things will help you share and understand what you've learned. So now, you know what you got to do this summer? You got to read all the time. Just keep reading. Just read every chance you get. The more you read, the more you learn, the easier things become. And reading falls into all different categories and all different academic subjects. The better your reading is, the easier it will be for math and science and social studies. So just keep reading, just keep moving forward. So, your assignment this week is a pretty easy one. Okay. I want you to tell me, what was the most important thing you've learned in reading this year? Could be that it could be what a genre is and explain the genres. It could be um, that you've learned that it's really important to look at all of the graphic features or the text features in a nonfiction article. Okay. There's a lot of different things we've talked about. Now, you can earn credit for this by telling me your answer in several different ways. Of course, you can go on the Google Classroom and you can fill out the form that's there, or you can write, all you need is one sentence. Your assignment this week is one sentence. You can write a sentence on the Google Classroom form. Okay. If we're talking about it during our Zoom meeting, maybe you can tell me then, text me your answer, email me. Okay. Write it on a piece of paper and take a picture and turn it in. However, your answer is due by Friday. All work is due by Friday. That goes for anything that's from the past several weeks. All your missing assignments need to be turned in and completed by Friday. Otherwise, that's going to affect your final grade for the year. I am so excited that we have been able to share this time, even though it has been a little different at the end of the year. And I know that y'all are going to have an awesome, awesome summer. And I look forward to seeing you all again next year. Please come by and say hi. Drop me an email during the summer just so that I know that you're okay. And if you have any questions, you can uh, text me or email me. Again, remember all of your work is due by Friday. Just make sure you keep reading, reading, reading. Bye.